Hello, my rogue group. You guys are off on your own, trying to enrich yourselves with Module 3 and Lesson 20. So, you guys are on your own. That's what rogue means, going off by yourself and exploring new adventures. So today, our adventure is going to be on area. And we know that an area is length times width. That was our formula that we needed to remember. Length times width. Now, this is something new, and there's a new word that we're going to call inverse operation. Inverse operation is basically saying the opposite. So an inverse operation of multiplication is division, and an inverse operation of addition is subtracting. So we don't really say opposite in math, we're going to call it an inverse. So today we're going to focus on the inverse operation of division using the area model and number bonds. So here's an example of what an area model looks like. You're used to seeing this when we focused on multiplication. But we're going to use this today with division. And notice here they give you the area of 70, and here is your width times your length to give you the area of 70. Over here they give you an area of 21. This is your width. 7 times 3 is 21. Another way of doing division is using number bonds, actually breaking a number and splitting it apart and breaking it down to get to your final answer. And we'll be using that today. So I'm kind of working backwards here. This is a finished product of area model with doing division. This is already completed. So I wanted to show you how they did this. And if we look at our area inside, this is a 70 and this is a 21. And what we need to do is we need to join these two back together. So 70 plus 21 is 91. And we are dividing this by 7. So this was the original problem that they wanted us to create an area model that looks like this. So this was the original problem, and then this is what we would get if we're using an area model. And I'll help you create this, but I just wanted to show you the end result, and this is the beginning. This is just beginning with the end in mind. I wanted to show you the end result, and this is where we begin. So we can use a number bond to figure out the answer to this division problem, 91 divided by 7, that I just showed you previously. And we're going to start with 91, put a circle around it, and break it apart. And notice that we're dividing by 7. So let's see. If we count by tens, what can we get close to 90? Well, we would do 70. 70 is the closest that we can get. If we count, we can't do 80 because we're not dividing by 80. We're not dividing by 8. We're dividing by 7. So 7 times 10 is 70. So then now we need to subtract. What would be over here? Take away 91. Take 91 minus 70, and you're left with 21 on this side. So 70 plus 21 is 91. And if we continue to show the division, 70 divided by 7 is 10. And 21 divided by 7 is 3. So continue our number bond. 10 plus 3 is 13. So the answer to this division problem, 91 divided by 7, is 13. And if we go back, look up here. 10 plus 3 is 13. All right, so now we're going to do an area model that demonstrates 96 divided by 4. So here is our width, 4, and we know that the area is 96 squared units. So I'm going to make an area, a rectangle, and put 96 in the middle. So now I need to figure out what my length is. Now if I look at the 9 and I have the 4 here, what could I multiply by 4 to get me closer to that 9? That's actually not a 9, it's a 9D. And I would have to say we'd do it by 4 goes into 9 too, but because it's a 90, we would put a 20. So that makes sense. 20 times 4 is 80. We are close to 96. So now what I need to do is, since 20 times 4 is 80, I need to subtract it with 96. And I'm left with 16. So now I have another area of 16 squared units. So I need to add a little bit more on to my rectangle, and this is going to represent 16. So now I have to say, well, 4, let's do that inverse operation. 4 times what gives me 16? And it is 4. So we have 20 and we have 4, and if we add that up, we will get 24 as our answer. All right, here's a number bond that we want to use to figure out what is 96 divided by 4. In the previous slide, we used the area model. Another way of doing it is doing a number bond. So let's put 96 in a circle on the top, and we're going to break 96 down until we get our answer. So let's split 96 apart, 4, and that goes into 90. The closest we can get, if we count by the tens, would be 20. And then 20, take 96 minus 20 would leave us with, I'm sorry, not 20, 80, because 4 goes into 9, so we're left with 80 because we did 4 times 20 to get 80. And we are left with 96 minus 80, we're left with 16. So 16 goes here. Okay, so let's continue our number bond. Let's break down this, 80. All right, so if we did 80 divided by, what we're dividing by is 4, we would get 20. And then down over here, 16 divided by 4 would give us 4. So now we need to add up our two numbers over here, and we get an answer of 24 from our number bond. So 96 divided by 4 is 24. Just like we did in the previous slide with our area model, we got 24. All right, so let's try making an area model for 84 divided by 6. So over here, the 6 is going to be our width, and make a rectangle, and the 84 represents our squared units. So now we actually have to come up with our length right here. Oops. So 6 times what? Okay, so we are going to look at that tens place. 6 get us closer to 80. 6 times what? Let's count by our tens. 6 times what get us closer to 80? And that would be 10, because 6 times 10 gets us closest to 60. We couldn't go higher than that because 20 times 6 is 1200. So we're going too high, so we have to use 10. So then over here, 60 times 10, I'm sorry, 10 times 6 is 60, so let's subtract from 84, and we are left with 14. So we have to make a little bit more of a rectangle, and we have another area of 14 squared units. Oops, 24. 24 squared units. So we need another length. So we're going to use that inverse operation. 6 times what gives us 24? And the answer is 4. And now we have our two lengths. We need to add those up. We get 14 as our answer. All right, now let's try to answering that same question, but using the number bond. So we put 84 on the top, and we're going to break him down. All right, so now we go back to saying 6 times what gets us closer to 80. That's not an 8, that's an 80. And if we count by our tens, we are going to end up with a 60. And 84, take away 60, gives us 24. So we broke down this number. 60 plus 24 is 84. But now we're going to be dividing by 6. So 60 divided by 6 gives us a 10. And 24 divided by 6 gives us a 4. And 10 plus 4 is 14. So now we have an answer of 14. 84 divided by 6 equals 14. That's by using the number bond method, or using the area model, we get the same thing. Okay, practice makes perfect, so let's try another one. 56 divided by 2 using the area model. So here is our width. And let's make a rectangle and put 56, because that's our area, square units. And then we know we're looking at our 5. That's not a 5, it's a 50. So 2 times what? If we count by our tens, would give us close to 5 to 50. And that would have to be a 20. Because 20 times 2 is 40, and that's close to 5. That's close to 5. But if we went to 30, 30 times 2 is 60, and that would be going over the 5. So this is why 20 works. But 20 times 2 is 40, so we have to go over here, and because we have to figure out our other part of our rectangle. 56 minus 40 is 16. So now I need to add on a little bit to our rectangle and make 16 square units in this side. So now we're going to do that inverse operation. 2 times what gives us 16? We need to know this length. 2 times what gives us 16? And it's 8. 2 times 8 equals 16. Now we have this length, and we need to add it with this length, and we get an answer of 28. All right, try 56 divided by 2 by doing the number bond method. So let's put 56 on the top, circle, and let's start breaking him apart. Now we look into the tens place, and that's a 5, but it's really a 50. So 2 can go into 50. As close as we can get would be a 20. 20 times 2 is 40. We could not go with 30 because that would bring us to 60. We have to either have be a 50 or less, and it's 40. Then we're left with what on the other side? 56, take away 20. Ugh, I did it again. this is not a 20, because 20 times 2 is 40. This is a 40, and we're left with 16. All right, I put a factor there, not a product. So 2 times 20 gives us 40. Now we need to break down and divide by 2 now. So 40 divided by 2 is 20, and 16 divided by 2 gives us 8. So we need to add up those two numbers, and we get 28 as our answer. And if you look, our number bond answer was 28, and our previous, with our area model method, we got 28. So either way is acceptable to help us with division. All right, guys, I would like you to try out some problems, get the practice sheets, and start practicing with area models, number bonds to practice with division.